What's going on, everybody? Hello again and welcome back to another episode of the Watch Report with me, Jean-Luc Rowe. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We're back again. The return of the Mac is here. And oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be back with you all today, talking about the world of sports. It's been a long hiatus, about a month. I don't apologize for it though, because I've been trying to make some moves behind the scenes, and the work that I put in and the recognition that you all have given me and the support has been paying off, and we got some major news coming down the pipe. I can't say anything yet, not yet, but in about a week or two, we gonna drop some big news that I've got coming up as we venture in to the sports media world. I'm so happy and thank y'all so much for helping making this possible. My goodness, I can barely keep it together because I'm so excited for what we got coming down the pipe for you all and for the greater sports media world in the coming weeks. And just say somebody just got picked up and just got notarized by a very mega mogul corporation, and we about to start producing some stuff for them. Who they are? That's going to be, I'm going to save that for later on. But just know, we got some big stuff coming down the pipe, and it's all thanks to you, the viewers and listeners of this show. So thank you so much for giving support, showing love, and hey, let's keep this going. Let's keep building up this empire. Like I've been saying, like I said before, we're on every major platform. Spotify, YouTube, right here on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, whatever you can find us, we are there. And this show is there for you to enjoy. And hey, leave a like on the video since you're on YouTube. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel and share with everybody that you know so we can keep on building this community, this empire, this great thing that we got going together. But we're back again. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful weekend, and we're about to step into the ring because, oh my gosh, it's a boxing dedicated episode. That's right. Let's get it started right here, right now. We got so much to cover in the world of boxing. Joe Joyce got upset. My goodness, in a shocking, or in many people's eyes, shocking TKO loss, or rather doctor's stoppage. Shakur Stevenson moving up to lightweight and defeating Yoshida, a top 10 lightweight in his own right, in dramatic fashion, and giving everybody in the lightweight division notice that this brother has arrived. And finally, tomorrow night on Saturday, the biggest boxing event of the year, Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis, is finally happening. And I've already talked about who I think is going to win, but I'm going to talk about what's going to be the impact of whoever loses and who desperately needs this win more than the other. We're going to talk all about that right here, right now on the show. But let's get it started right now with what happened last weekend with the events of the past. Big Bang Zhang defeats Joe Joyce. That's right, round one. That's where we're going to get started right here, right now. Big Bang Zhang in a dramatic upset absolutely destroys Joe Joyce to claim the interim WBO championship. WBO heavyweight champion, the interim WBO heavyweight championship, putting him squarely in line to be in position to get a shot at either Usyk or Fury for the actual heavyweight championship, whether it be the unified and or just the WBO that Fury has. And this shook the boxing world to its core, because you got to understand, if you don't know who Joe Joyce is, Joe Joyce, the juggernaut Joe Joyce, is a brother who is just a walking, stamina-driven powerhouse. The brother just keeps on coming, keeps on moving forward. He's big, he's not necessarily quick, don't got no fleet of foot, ain't got really great footwork, but the man has a stamina better than almost anybody else in the division. And on top of that, he's got power to boot, will punish you, will brutalize you, has a good jab, and can not only knock you out, but also power through whatever you throw at him, which was his biggest, or rather is his biggest call to fame. The man consistently can walk through anybody's shots and just keep on going as if nothing happened. He's like a Terminator, like people call him, because he just will not stop regardless of what you hit him with. However, Big Bang Zhang proved that to be false, as this man came out and just lethally dissected JOYCE, stunned JOYCE, hurt JOYCE with the left hand, as he's a southpaw. And JOYCE didn't have an answer at all. So for Zhilei Zhang, Big Bang Zhang, right now, he is at this is probably the big, no, not probably, this is the biggest win of his career. Again, a multi-time Olympian. The man has been, he's won, what's his record? His record's what, 40 plus? Just about. He's excuse me, not 40 plus, 25 wins, 1 loss. And that loss was a controversial loss to Herkovich, which he won outright, but he lost in a unanimous decision, which was absolutely wrong. If you watch that fight, he went and it was a phenomenal back and forth affair, but Zhang won that fight. He absolutely won that fight and got robbed. But irregardless of which, that's the only loss on his record. 25 wins, at the time of that fight, before the win, 24 wins and 1 loss. Now, 25 wins and 1 loss with 20 KOs. Big Bang Zhang proved that the Juggernaut is actually human. You can hurt him. You can stop him. You can take him off of the tracks and make him have to stop. Because if you know anything about Marvel, any more of my Marvel superhero fans out there, the Juggernaut, once the brother gets going, he just won't stop moving. There's nothing you can do. That's what JOYCE was, seemingly. And when he fought Justin Parker, by the way, former heavyweight champion, and Justin Parker was landing some really serious shots, combinations left, right, and center, and JOYCE just kept on walking through. It seemed like, well, shoot, nothing can hurt this brother. And Joseph Parker doesn't have a whole lot of power. He's not like a one-hitter quitter type brother. He's known for more so speed, elusiveness. Well, not necessarily elusiveness, but not necessarily elusiveness, but speed and footwork, understandably so. But still, he is a heavyweight. And a heavyweight, if you get caught flush, and you can put your lights out. But he was caught JOYCE flush a couple times in that fight, and JOYCE kept on moving. But now Zhilei Zhang finally found a way to show what you need to do to actually get this man to stop in his tracks. And that is, you have to be essentially repetitive. One of the best, we call JOYCE robotic. And JOYCE is robotic. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. JOYCE is again, not his fighting style. People have compared him to George Foreman. So have I, in terms of how he throws his punches, understandably. So nowhere near the skill, but in terms of stylistically, somewhat. But George Foreman at least had some defense to coupled with his chin. He at least had better footwork. He had better speed. And he had a gas tank of his own as well. JOYCE has the gas tank, but doesn't have the footwork. Doesn't have really the crisp punching that you would want out of a fighter who's got power to him. He's slow, but that stamina, that chin is what has carried him throughout his entire career. Fine. He beat, and again, so what you want, he does have a good jab, like I said earlier. He beat Daniel Dubois with just the jab alone, essentially messing up that eye. So he's got something, but that something is limited. It's restrictive. It's robotic in nature. It's not free-flowing. And because of that, the way that you beat a robot is 2 ways. 1, you overload the systems. Or 2, you be a better robot. And that's what Zhang was in this fight. Zhang came out the gate, didn't let JOYCE get any ground, and came out as the aggressor. And what did he do? Just go for the left hand. Go for the left straight. All night long. Bum rushed him with some quick shots. And then, once he got comfortable, let that left hand go. Let it go again. Didn't throw any big combination. Just let that left hand go. That's it. That's all he had to do. Let the left hand go and land on Joe Joyce's bad defense, especially against Southpaw, because he's only faced one, I think, in his career, and it wasn't pretty. And this time, hey, it was even worse than the last time. And Zhang did exactly what you should do, not only sticking with what works, but not doing too much. The one thing that Joe Joyce does with his gas tank is overwhelm you with shots. And when he overwhelms you with shots, you get it pushed in a corner to feel like you need to start throwing back. And that's where you can get caught. That's where you can get hurt. That's where you run out your own gas tank. That's where you use up all your own fuel. And then now you're just at his mercy because now you're too slow, too tired to actually throw anything. Joseph Parker fell prey to that, not just with the damage, but also the amount of shots that he gave Joe Joyce. And they weren't working, and he tried to throw even more in volume. Later on in the fight, he began throwing shots that weren't great technically and were essentially heaving. Where he had to put his all just to get the punch off. Because that's what Joe Joyce does, but the effect came not just because of the pressure of Joe Joyce and not because of the stamina constant coming at you, but because of the fact that Joseph Parker, to a degree, punched himself out. Because he tried to fight volume with volume. Zhang fought volume with persistence and precision. Persistence as in doing just what works and nothing more. Zhang came in, started out as the aggressor, and then once he found that that left hand was working, that power left hand that he's got, he let the bang go. He let it go. And just one at a time, at most 2 punches at a time. And then back to defense. Boom. Wait to see what you're going to do. Boom. Wait to see what you're going to do again. Boom. In a robotic nature. And just absolutely pummeled Joyce throughout the night. The brother took him off his big feet just about in the early rounds, between rounds 1 and 3. Almost had him knocked down early in the fight and stunned him a couple times. Something we never thought was going to happen to Joe Joyce. But it's because of the fact that persistence and consistency in only doing what you need to do and nothing more against a volume juggernaut of Joe Joyce, at least who he was on that night, it paid off. And now, boom, what did that lead to? All he had to do was worry about defensively making sure that he was safe. And understand that because I'm as big as Joyce, and I got quicker hands, and I'm quicker in general, if I just use smart boxing tactics, I can make it so that I can catch everything, and then hit him again. Catch and punch. Again, robotic, but great. Because Zhang was catching every single shot that Joyce was throwing his way. Even when Joyce pulled up the tempo in about the 4th round? When he started seeing that, he's getting hit and getting hurt. Joyce picked up the pace. And what happened? Boom. Zhang stayed calm, didn't try to fire back too much. Just stayed with being a counterpuncher. Stayed with, I know I can bang. I know I got power. You ain't face somebody your size that has my skill set. I'm going to take you out, and I'm going to do it in the safest way possible. That's exactly what he did. Didn't let Joe Joyce revving up his engine get in the way of what was working and only doing what was working. And that's exactly what he did. Bing, bang, boom. As the fight kept going on, he got more confident in that left hand, started more throwing it with not full power like it was in the first couple rounds, but half power, but twice as fast. And then he just kept on splitting the guard. And Joe Joyce had no answer. And inevitably, the doctor came in, was worried, let him go again. Zhang ends the fight in the 6th round with 3 rapid fire, powerful left hands. Back to back to back. Joyce didn't answer any of them. Doctor comes in again, gets up on the apron, stops the fight. Or whispers in the ref's ear. Ref looks at Joe Joyce and then stops the fight. And it's again, yeah, it's over. And yeah, it's over. So now we have to look at this in 2 different ways. First off, Zhang is a legitimate contender for a title. Zhang can be a real threat. I'm not saying he's on the level of Usyk or Fury, but he can be something serious. And with how active he is, more active than most heavyweights, the brother was staying fit, slowly but surely gaining better stamina. Because remember, the Herkovich fight in the past, Zhang does not have great stamina for the majority of his career. But now, at least in the Joe Joyce fight, is better at managing it. Because I was afraid in the first 2 rounds he was going to gas out, and it looked like he was about to get to that point. But he stayed calm, conserved his energy, didn't throw many punches, and paced himself as the fight went on so that he didn't completely wind himself by the time, okay, it's time to get the kill shot. And by rounds 4 or 5, I was like, wait a minute, okay, if this fight goes to 8, he might actually be okay, which is something I never thought of Zhang or with Zhang as a boxer. Because he's never had a great gas tank. Never had a great gas tank. But now he's improving and he's staying active while improving. So there's no ring rust, seemingly. If he keeps this pace up. So he can be a real threat for Usyk and Fury. Or Anthony Joshua, if that comes down the pipe. Wilder, potentially, even though I think Wilder would knock him out, he could beat Joshua and give both Usyk and Fury a good fight if he got the opportunity. Most likely it's going to be after whoever wins between them two, if they ever fight again. But we'll see what happens. Or it could be after Usyk fights Daniel Dubois, as it's speculated to happen, and or as speculation from Saudi Arabia. After the mega fight in December of Usyk versus Fury and Wilder versus Joshua happening in Dubai late this year in December. Maybe it's after that, and if that card does happen, my word, that's one of the biggest cards, not just in recent boxing history, but potentially in all time. Potentially, all time. But that's a conversation for another day. But Zhang deserves to be where he's at. He's put in the work, has improved. Can't wait to see him as he continues becoming the first Chinese heavyweight champion ever holding any belt, at least as heavyweight. At 39 years old, looking to make this one last, probably this is going to be the last hurrah and last shot at getting a title. But he's on the cusp of getting there and looks good doing it. So I can't wait to see him. But as for Joyce now has a real dilemma on his hands. Because now we were saying that Joyce could potentially be a contender for people like Fury or like Usyk or like others. Or like Wilder potentially or Joshua. Now, however, seeing as how bad his defense is, and everybody in the upper echelon, maybe outside of Usyk, who, now that we've seen a chink in the armor, if they crack you, this could be just like what happened before or worse because of how bad defensively you are. At least against southpaws. But you're not great as even against orthodox fighters as well. This is what I've seen of Joe Joyce. Now looking at Joyce after this loss, can he recover? Absolutely. No doubt about it. Not concerned about that. What I am concerned about, though, is whether or not he actually will have the ability to compete for a championship because of his talent right now. How much will he actually improve from this? Because from the looks of it right now, Joyce has to go back to the drawing board and really dissect, can I just win with just my chin alone? And the answer now is no. And outside of this, and now that we know that the chin may not be able to save him all the time, stamina and just overwhelming presence, that could work. But once you get to the upper echelon of fighters, well, all of them have the hand speed of Zhang. All of them have as much, if not more power as Zhang. All of them are better combination punchers. All of them have as good a footwork, or at least on par, blocking wise, as Zhang was in that fight against JOYCE. And all of them have been able to withstand the upping of pressure and volume when going up against other boxers of better caliber than JOYCE. So I don't know really what JOYCE can really do. Because he's a big guy. He's got power. He can take a punch, yes. And he's got stamina, something few heavyweights have in this division, at least in this day and age. Because they're big guys. I'm not going to hold it against them, but still. What does JOYCE have if he ever hopes to compete against somebody like a Fury, like a Wilder, like an Usyk, who again, unlike Joseph Parker, will run circles around JOYCE and can fight both southpaw and orthodox. So he'll beat you both ways, and he'll just go southpaw on JOYCE and kill him just like Zhang did. And it'll be harder because JOYCE will be punching down, and Usyk will be punching up, and JOYCE may not see those punches coming up. Similar to how Joshua got caught with punches coming up from the shorter Usyk. He goes up against Tyson Fury. What's going to happen? Well, jabbed to oblivion. And Tyson Fury can go just off of the jab alone and keep his stamina the entire fight. And he's got enough pop to at least make JOYCE respect him. And he's got the weight to potentially drain that endless stamina tank that JOYCE has by leaning on him. Which is something I wish Zhang did, or something I wish Zhang did in this fight, even though he didn't need to. And then against Wilder, well, if you get caught and you got cracked against Zhang, if you got cracked by Big Bang Zhang, you're getting put out by Wilder. I can almost guarantee it. Anthony Joshua, that would be probably the best fight because both of them fight in that fundamental aspect. Again, JOYCE is a lot more robotic and less fundamentally sound than Joshua, but still stylistically they match up very well because it's similar. Even though I think, no, Anthony Joshua's better, it's similar between the two. So outside of Joshua, I don't see what other fighter really he's going to give trouble to. Because now that we know how to beat you, and now we see how bad you are defensively, at least against the southpaws. And there are ways from the orthodox stance to pull out those same plot holes, even if you're not southpaw. Like stepping, like moving, like being evasive, like going to the body. Which is something I don't know why more people don't do against JOYCE, who doesn't have great defensive abilities. Relies on tanking punches and moving on. Like with any automated vehicle, even with a tank, if you hit that gas tank correctly, oh, the whole thing's bursting into flames and or it's leaking out until the car's got to stop or until the tank has to stop because it ain't got no fuel. That's what you can do to beat JOYCE. And everybody else in the heavyweight division in that upper echelon knows that. And has the ability to take Joyce's punishment and dish it out 2-3-fold while not getting hit in the process. That's what most of the upper echelon heavyweight division has. Or if not, most of them, if they catch you, it's done. So Joyce really has a decision to make. And what is he going to do to fix his style as a boxer? Because now, the one thing that made you invincible now has been shown vulnerable. When somebody as big as Joyce goes up against Joyce, what happens? Joyce can be hurt. And everybody in the division except for Usyk is that big and is that strong. And everybody in the division, including Usyk, is far and away better boxers than Joyce. The only argument maybe is Wilder, and Wilder can just knock you out. His instinctual punch ability and accuracy when he actually finds an opening, going forwards and or backwards with that right hand, is second to none. Regardless of what I've said about him in the past, that is for certain. He's mastered the art of the right hand. And that is all that he needs for Joe Joyce. So it's hard for me to look at Joe Joyce and say, yes, he can take everybody in the division. Now with this loss, because Zhang was an underrated talent that nobody really knew about, outside of those who watched the Herkovich fight or followed him from the Olympics. And the man has legitimate skills. Comparable, not better, but comparable to the better heavyweights of today. Just nobody knew about him. Now they know about him. And everybody in the division is either at or better than him that is actually in contention for a title. And I don't see Joyce, as of right now, meeting that level unless I see some changes in his fighting style, in fighting makeup, as in his ability to adapt as the fight goes on, not just rev up the engine. Because now we know that revving up the engine won't work all the time. Now we know at what point will that increase in volume not be effective to actually win you the fight like it has been in the past. Now we know where that level of talent that George has right now caps out to. Whether he improves or not is up to him. But it's hard for me to say that Joe Joyce has the ability, if he stays currently like he is right now, to compete for a title against the best of the best. Because after seeing this, good gosh, I would hate to see him go up against Fury. I would hate to see him go up against any of the top heavyweights right now. Right now. And if there was a rematch against Zhang, if there was a rematch against Zhang, Zhang is banging away at his head again. That's it. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Again, he's going to hear it. You're going to hear that. You're going to hear that over and over. It's just going to keep happening. It's just going to keep happening. He's going to keep landing that left hand. If they rematch, because Joe Joyce right now hasn't shown any wrinkle that he can actually adapt. He can actually defend against it. Even if he hadn't faced southpaws often, at minimum you should know to at least lean away, step away from that left hand and get your head off the center line. He ain't even doing that. He ain't never done that. but nobody's been big enough to actually touch him. Now that he's moving up to competitive status and trying to get in line for a title, everybody's big enough and good enough to touch him. Consistently with tactics that work, not just trying to lunge in. We got to see if Joyce can adapt, because if he can't adapt, it's going to be bad for him. Incredibly bad for him. Now moving on to the next round of this Welch Report show, Shakur Stevenson has made an incredibly huge impact in the lightweight division as he has gone and KO'd, or rather TKO'd, Yoshina in his lightweight debut. And this is a real message to everybody in the lightweight division. The most competitive challenge that any of you all are going to face just stepped in the ring and is now set to do some real damage to everybody. Shakur Stevenson went up against Yoshina, who is, again, currently, based on box rate, number 8 in the world, at minimum top 10 in the world at lightweight. And this is a brother who can crack legitimately. Legitimately, this is a man who can actually punch. This is a brother who beat Nakatani, whose only losses, to my knowledge, are Teofimo Lopez, Vasily Lomachenko, and who was the other one? There was another brother that he fought and lost to. The name is escaping me. It's escaping me. Who was it? Who was it that Yoshina, that Nakatani? Excuse me, it was just them two. I apologize. No, it was just them two. Nakatani's losses have come to Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko. Two people who have held the titles. That's it. Of the elite. Of the elite in the division are the only two people that Nakatani's lost to. And Yoshina beat him. Now, Shakur Stevenson comes into play. And mind you, this is the brother who can crack. He's got I believe he's 16 fights, 14 knockouts. In fact, let me make sure. Let me make sure that this is correct. Because I know exactly what I'm talking about. Because I know Yoshina, for those who don't know, because they may be unaware of Yoshina's actual ability and his actual talent as a fighter. The man is not to be messed with. 16-1 with 12 KOs, again beating Nakatani as his biggest win, but an incredibly big win at that because of the previously stated level of competition that Nakatani has been in the ring with and has been put up some good fights with, ultimately losing. But even still, Yoshina could crack in this division. Yoshina was ranked in this division. And Yoshina was a real threat, regardless of how you feel about how good Shakur Stevenson is. And Shakur did everything that he normally does in a fight. And I picked him to win this, absolutely. But the one thing that made this different is the fact that now Shakur Stevenson showed that he has power. Moving up from 130 to 135. Into the lightweight division, he has power. The man has been, before, technical ability, fine. Speed, fine. Reaction, fine. Instincts, fine. Distance control, great. Some of the best in the entire sport. Defensive ability, phenomenal. Gets hit fewest out of anybody in the sport, or is up there with getting hit the fewest out of any boxer in the sport today. Opponent connect percentage is incredibly low. Of the top 3 in terms of lowest percentage. And he now, with all of those tools, has power and took out Yoshina knocked him down twice, and since you got the ref to stop it for a TKO win in the sixth, this man is scary. This man is scary. He's young. He's strong. Now he's strong. And kept all the speed and talent that he had coming up as he's now in lightweight. And he could be the toughest challenge for anybody. And I mean anybody. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis, they're getting ready to fight on Saturday. Everybody's hyped up about that. That is not going to be either of their biggest or toughest matchups in the division. It's not going to be any of their toughest matches. Their toughest matchup, Lomachenko's toughest matchup, or at least toughest matchup on par with Devin Haney, who he is going to fight. But Lomachenko's other matchup that's on par with Devin Haney, that will be tied for his toughest test, in terms of overall talent of a boxer. Yes, I know Loma lost to Teofimo Lopez. I understand that. In an upset win. I get that. But Teofimo was the better boxer. Lomachenko was the better boxer, absolutely. Boxing skills, Lomachenko is better. It's still better. But Teofimo Lopez may not have had all the boxing ability of Lomachenko and all the IQ, but had enough to implement the game plan and was able to adapt as the fight went on to be able to win in a very close competitive fight. Lomachenko was the better fighter, but Teofimo won the fight. Plain and simple. It's not me being biased or unbiased. That's just the truth. Coming into the fight, Lomachenko was the better boxer. We still view Lomachenko as one of the best boxers today. Fundamentally, he's one of the best today. From a boxing IQ perspective, he's one of the best today. That's just the truth. Lomachenko isn't on that level. Lomachenko's not on that level. Excuse me. Teofimo's not on that level. My apologies. Lomachenko is on that level of being one of the smartest boxers today. Teofimo is not on that level. We know that. Just look at his last fight that I covered, where he lost what I think should have been a unanimous decision for the opponent. And he was sitting back on the rope saying, well, do I still got it? We did a whole episode on it. And even with Lomachenko's incredibly high IQ, going up against another high IQ fighter in Devin Haney, still, that may not be his toughest test, or at least it will be on par with his toughest test facing Shakur Stevenson. And there's an argument that it could be a bigger test for Loma because Shakur Stevenson is such a big man in this division. Physically, he's big for this division. He's physically big for this division. Couple that with the speed on par with Devin Haney. Power better than Devin Haney, at least as of right now, that we can see. It's Gervonta Davis. His toughest matchup would be Shakur Stevenson. Ryan Garcia, his toughest matchup would be Shakur Stevenson. Devin Haney or Loma, both of their toughest matchups would be tied with each other and Shakur Stevenson. Teofimo Lopez would lose or will lose to Shakur Stevenson if they ever fought. That's what impact this man brings to the table. He's got everything that you want in a boxer. Now he's got pop. Legitimate pop. If he sits down on your punches, they're not going to sting. No, they can put you down, which is a very stark difference. A counterpunch from Shakur used to be, it'll hurt, it'll look good, it'll sound good, but the fight will still keep going on. Now a counterpunch from Shakur can put you down. And as he keeps maturing into this division, it could potentially put you out. Because his knockout record versus what his body is currently evolving into right now do not reflect the boxer that he is. Now, you only see, 10 or so knockouts on his resume. But that's because he was fighting in a weight class below where his body can function peak performance-wise. Now he's at a position where his body can perform peak performance-wise, strength included, power included, weight behind the punch included. And because of that, you're seeing Shakur Stevenson, now he's a different animal. He's a different animal. He's one of the scariest animals in the entire division. Because just like what we see in Gervonta Davis, Shakur has that, but has height and reach on his side as well. Boxing IQ right there with Gervonta. Right there. Yes, it is. Fanboy or not, I don't care who you support. He's right there with Gervonta. Some would argue better. Some would argue better. Whether it is or not, I'll leave that for you to decide. But it's at minimum, it's up there with them. And now he's got pop to his punches and still got the distance control, still has the ability to dissect what you're going to do, has the ability to be yards away while only being centimeters away. In an incredible, again, distance perception, punch perception. Still able to fight as safe as can be, while also being able to open up when he sees that it's time to go to work. Can fight on the inside or on the outside. Can set traps. He's got it all. He's got it all. He's got it all. And now he's got power behind that, coupled with his already natural physical gifts. There's like, that was the biggest weakness in this game, was the fact that now he just didn't have any pop. Oh, excuse me, he's 5'7". 5'7", 68 inches as of reach. Even with a stature comparable to Gervonta Davis, he is still such a big man physical wise. And all that other stuff on his game is great. All of it is great. All of it is great. He's one of the most well-rounded boxers in the division today. And he can fight from any range, but stays comfortable where he's best at, which is the mid-range. And now you add power behind that, he is one of the scariest fighters in the division. Absolutely. And it's going to be hard-pressed for anybody not to see him coming down the highway that is the lightweight division, and potentially look to avoid him because of just how silly he makes even good competitors look. He's a special cat. This first fight into the lightweight division as an introduction is potentially a sign to come what's going to happen as the fights go on and as his career goes forward. My goodness, it's going to be something to see. It's going to be exciting to see. And the rest of the division better be on notice for Shakur Stevenson, because he is the real deal. He is legitimate. This man is actually coming for everybody. He is coming for everybody. I'm not saying he's not beatable. But I'm saying is, if you are going to beat him, you better bring your absolute A game. Because against Shakur, right now, you're probably going to have to fight better than you've ever fought before. against any matchup with the way that he's looking right now. It's going to be a sight to see. My goodness, I cannot wait for it. I'll tell you right now, I cannot wait for him to continue his progression into the lightweight division. And now, for the final round of this Welch Report show, we have to talk about the zenith, the pinnacle, the biggest fight of the year. Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis is happening Saturday. My word, it's actually coming to pass. We didn't think we were going to see today. I still held my breath. This whole month, I held my breath because I was thinking something was going to happen. I was going to get the fight canceled. Nothing happened. And everything's happening like it needs to happen. And now, we've already discussed who we think is going to win. I got Gervonta Davis by knockout late in the fight between the 9th and 10th round. Or 9th and 11th round. I think he's going to outbox him. I think he's going to outwork him. I think he's going to find a way on the inside. And or do what he did to Rolly Romero, which is draw Ryan Garcia in and then catch him with a counter. That's what I have. And set traps that Ryan Garcia may have never seen before. And have him run into a kill shot. That's what I think is going to happen. Can he win by decision? Absolutely. And Ryan Garcia also can knock out Tank Davis with a left hook that Tank doesn't see coming. Absolutely. Absolutely that can happen. That's not out the question. Ryan Garcia could also use his reach to be able to keep him at bay and force Tank to come in recklessly to a point that now he gets countered. All that can happen. I have a whole breakdown on the channel that you can go and see exactly what I got to say about the fight. But what I want to touch on now, before the fight actually happens, who needs this win more between the two? Between Tank and Ryan Garcia, who needs to win this fight more? And I would say Ryan needs to win this fight more. Reason why is not because, I think if either of these guys win, they're going to just be, boom, that's it. The cash is over. The star is over. No, I'm not thinking that at all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But what I am thinking is that what effect is this going to have on the mentals of each fighter when the biggest fight of their lives as of right now takes place and one of them isn't successful? And that could have a bigger toll on Ryan Garcia than Tank Davis. Reason being is because, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because was Showbiz the Adult, another great boxing YouTuber that you should go check out, brought this up. And it was actually a very good point. A loss for Ryan Garcia on this stage could affect him immensely. Reason being, he already has gone through mental health issues and thankfully has gotten out of it, gotten on the better end of it, and is a better man for it. Absolutely. We applaud him for having the ability to get out the gutter and find what he needs to find within himself. Absolutely. No doubt about it. But what we also need to understand is that it is, when you get to a place like that, it's hard to get out, but it's easy to get back in. It's hard to get out of a mindset like Ryan Garcia was in, where he wanted to potentially just stop fighting altogether. It's hard to get out of it. And when you get out of it, it's a big relief. But it's easy to fall back into that same mindset if something cataclysmic happens. And that's what could happen to Ryan Garcia with this fight if he does lose. Specifically if he loses by knockout. If he loses by decision, you lost by decision. It was a good fight. You just got outboxed. Okay. But if you get knocked out or stopped, that's where the rubber meets the road in terms of the impact of everybody else jumping on you and getting on you, trolling you, having to hear it in the street, having to hear it when you go home, having to hear it when you go out to train, out to eat, out to a hotel, wherever you go. People will hold that over your head because people are horrible. Unless the boxing world just said, you know what, you gave it your best, phenomenal, we applaud you, go out and do it again. Keep on pushing yourself and challenging yourself. Unless the boxing public does that, which we know they won't. Because the boxing world, as great as it is a rabid cesspool of toxicity. We know that. That's what makes this sport both. That's what makes this sport both good and bad. Because it's every turn you get, you'll get one boxing fan, and for every one of those boxing fans, you'll get 10 toxic fans that will just troll and heckle and bash and downgrade and just all outright be unsupportive and constantly diminishing anything that the other person does. Anything that any other boxer does that isn't their boxer, that isn't their guy. That's what the boxing public will do. And Ryan Garcia has not tasted defeat yet. And whenever a boxer tastes defeat for the first time professionally, it can affect them psychologically. And with Ryan Garcia right now, this is the really fragile moment for him. Because while he can fight, and while he can recover even with a loss, this loss could potentially send him back into that downward spiral of, I don't want to do this anymore. Because when I gave it my all and I came up short, irregardless of how I came up short, I didn't even get you tried, keep your head up. I just got outright hate, which is what's going to come to him if he does lose. It's exactly what's going to come to him if he's going to lose. If he does lose. People in my comment section, when I made the video on Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, and I had my breakdowns on that fight, they were saying that they were calling this man all kinds of names. All kinds of names, giving him all kinds of flack. Go to other people's comments on other videos, you'll see the same thing. Anybody who gives him credence, oh, you're a hater. You're a hater. Ryan Garcia is a cupcake. And that's the lightest thing I can say about what people say about Ryan Garcia. A social media star is all he is. He's a pretty face that ain't really good. That's what everybody's saying. Which is not true, but if he loses, everybody's gonna put all of that vitriol, they're gonna put that on him tenfold. And will he be able to withstand it? If Tank loses, I think he'll be fine. He'll hate it, absolutely. It'll eat away at him, absolutely. It'll do something to him, absolutely. But not to the same severity as Ryan Garcia. Because if Tank loses this fight, we could see Tank back. Okay. He's at least at where he was. But if Ryan Garcia loses, there's a real possibility that we could see this man really diminish the skill set that he already has, which is a great skill set. But we could see him diminish it due to his mental psyche taking such a big hit. It could affect him as a fighter. It really could. Who was it? Was it Dennis Scott? Who Orlando Magic. There was a player, I believe it was Dennis Scott. I believe it was Dennis. In fact, let me make sure. Because I know the story. I just want to make sure it's correct. Nick Anderson, that's who it was. I think it was Dennis Scott. I knew it wasn't Dennis Scott. Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson missed Against, was it against Chicago? No, in the 95 finals. Nick Anderson, shooting guard for the Orlando Magic back when Shaq and Penny were there. Phenomenal duo, phenomenal team. 1995 finals, Nick Anderson goes to the free throw line. Clutch free throw situation. He just needs to hit one, if not two, and the game's over. This man went on to miss 4 free throws in that game. 4 free throws back to back to back to back. Cost them the game. They inevitably lost the series. But from that one game, this man was a marksman, legitimately. From the free throw line and from the arc, shooting was never the same. Shooting was never the same. Free throw numbers were never the same. Confidence never the same for the rest of his career. Because of that one moment that he failed to get it done affected him for the rest of his career. The entirety of his career was never the same at the free throw line. An aspect of the game where he was normally good at, never shot. Absolutely shot for the rest of his career. That's the risk that we're seeing with Ryan Garcia if he loses this fight. Potentially. Now, it could be that he's stronger willed than any of us think and are giving him credit for, and that he'll be just fine. It could even be a situation where this loss is the best thing for him, and he fully evolves into the next iteration of who he is as a fighter, and then bing, bang, boom, now he's better than ever. That very well could happen. Very well that could happen. Absolutely that could happen. But as of right now, from what we've seen in the past for Ryan Garcia, it's tough for me to say that that's going to be a likely possibility. More so than that extreme, the other extreme is entirely possible. More possible than I would like. More possible than any of us would like. If we love and support the sport of boxing and love the athletes that put their life on the line for this, psychologically, you don't want them messed up. But this could mess him up irreparably. Because not only missing out on the biggest moment, but losing against not just Tank, but the fans of Tank, which are numerous and many, who will never let you hear the end of it. Never let you hear the end of it. That's exactly what can happen. That's exactly what can happen. And because of that, it's a real possibility that we could see Ryan Garcia never the same after this fight. I hope that doesn't happen. But if that does happen, my goodness, talk about a star that could be blown out right before our eyes. It's an entire possibility. He's been doing good in the press conferences. He's been doing good on the mic. He has been doing great. Shown the vibrato, shown the ability to talk. Great insults, great back and forth. Ryan Garcia up to this point has shown that, okay, he's here mentally. He's there. All there. But despite that, at the end of this night, because I have no doubt he is ready. When prime time comes, he's more than ready. But after the fight ends, where is his head going to be mentally? Because if it's where I think it's going to go, it could be bad. If it goes to where I hope it doesn't go, which is the out and out extreme, we can maybe never see this man fight again. It's a very big thing to say. It's a very real risk that is plausible. More plausible than I would like for a boxer, especially one this young, that's reaching the prime of his career, ever evolving, has so much potential in front of him. Regardless of the result, I want both of these guys to still be able to be confident in themselves, confident in their ability, and confident that this one loss isn't the end for them as a star. And coming into this fight, I knew that was the mindset for both of them. Coming out of this fight, though, I know that will be the mindset for one of them. And that one right now is Tank. Ryan, on the other hand, there is legitimate concern. Not in his ability to perform during the fight, but after the fight if the result doesn't go his way. And or worse, it ends in knockout. What will he be mentally? Because if he isn't able to stay strong mentally, we could see an incredibly talented fighter just go poof right before our eyes. And be just like Nick Anderson, never the same. Now, the best thing is, rematch is a close fight, hotly contested. Goes to 12 with a knockdown shared in the 12th round for each fighter. And a controversial decision and or draw takes place. And now, boom, we get to run it back again. Hey, I would love that. I would love for that. Love for that to happen. I want an all-time great fight. But as great as the fight can be, whatever the outcome, will Ryan Garcia be the same up here? Because if not, it can be the extinguishing of an incredibly bright career, potentially, if he goes back down that dark road, back down the downward spiral of internal turmoil and internal pain that he was in when he took time away from boxing. And I hope that's not the case. And I just hope that we see a great fight. But this has been another episode of the Watch Your Boy. Yes, we're back again. We did it. We have returned. I'm sad to be back with you all again. Remember, again, leave a like on the video, comment, thoughts, and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the channel with everybody that you know, like I always say. Also, remember that, hey, tune into the fight on Saturday. I've been your host, John Luke. You've been my beautiful viewers and listeners. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Keep on supporting this channel. Let's build it up. Peace and love. We are out of here.